Hello students, welcome to our online video tutorial class. So students, I think you have seen the previous videos, whatever I have made. So today I will be starting the new chapter, that is the first chapter present in the class 12, that is reproduction in organisms. So throughout the entire chapter we will be discussing about various kinds of reproduction, specifically sexual and asexual mode of reproduction. So first I am starting this chapter with a point, that is lifespan. What is lifespan? Lifespan is actually the total duration of the life starting from the birth to the death. That specific duration of the life is commonly known as, or that specific span of life is commonly known as lifespan. Any of the organism, if you consider plant, if you consider animals, obviously for each and every organism there should be a specific lifespan. So this lifespan, obviously organism to organism, it will vary always, but always for each and every organism there should be a range. That means from this much year to this much year, or from this much month to this much month, or from this much day to this much day the organism can survive. Maybe that is animal or maybe that is plant. So that will be considered as lifespan. In your book you will be seeing the lifespan of various organisms are also mentioned. So by saying those lifespans of various organisms, I am not wasting the time, because there is not a single concept, or there is no concept present. So for that reason I am just shifting to the next topic after the lifespan, and the next topic is the definition of reproduction. We all know reproduction is a such kind of physiological process by which any organism is giving birth of the next generation or offspring, and that organism will be getting capable to survive in this world by reproducing multiple times, or by creating next generation offsprings multiple times. So that should be considered as reproduction. So reproduction is none other than the physiological process which is found in every organism by which the organisms can survive in this world. That is commonly known as reproduction. Third, significance of the reproduction. What is the significance of the reproduction? Significance of the reproduction is always why the reproduction is necessary. Obviously we all know that to create the next generation offspring, that is the main target to reproduce. Second more important thing is that if any individual organism wants to increase its population size, then the reproduction is one and only method. If any individual species organisms want to survive in this world, if they want next 100 generations or 100 years they will survive in this world, then reproduction is one and only procedure by which the organisms can survive year after year, decade after decade. Okay, so reproduction is necessary for producing next generation offspring. Reproduction is necessary for increasing the population size, as well as reproduction is necessary for sustaining the species generation after generation in this world. It is required for the survival. Going for the next point, that is types of reproduction. Here you can see there are mostly two types of reproductions we can see, or commonly two types of reproductions we can see. One is asexual mode of reproduction, another one is sexual mode of reproduction. So what is the difference in between these two? Asexual mode of reproduction is a type of reproduction where sex cell or gamete, that is male gamete sperm and female gamete ovum, these kind of structures are not involved. But in case of sexual mode of reproduction, sex cells or gametes are involved. Clear? So in case of asexual mode of reproduction, sex cells or gametes are absent. In case of sexual mode of reproduction, sex cells or gametes are present. In case of asexual mode of reproduction, there is no fusion of gamete. But in case of sexual mode of reproduction, obviously the fusion or the fertilization of the gametes is happening. In case of asexual mode of reproduction, whatever the new organism is taking birth from the mother organism, that is called as daughter organism. But in case of sexual mode of reproduction, whatever the new organism is taking birth, that is not the daughter organism, rather it can be called as, that will be considered as offspring, next generation offspring. That can be son, that can be daughter, anything. Specifically before producing son and daughter, zygote is generally forming. Next, and the most important point is that in case of asexual mode of reproduction, single parent or uniparent is enough. But in case of sexual mode of reproduction, single parent is not enough. Two parents are required. One is male parent, another one is female parent. These two parents are always required. Next, in case of asexual mode of reproduction, the organisms who are taking birth, they are mostly the clone of the mother organism, because entirely the morphological and anatomical features same. There is a very minute difference can be present if any genetic error will happen. Otherwise, mostly the newly produced daughter organism is the fully clone of the mother organism. But in case of sexual mode of reproduction, when the male gamete and female gamete, they are fertilizing each other, so automatically whatever the next generation offspring is getting produced, that will not be clone of father or either of mother. Clear? So they will be that specific individual who will produce by sexual mode of reproduction, they will be containing both the characteristics of fathers and mothers. Okay, so they cannot be get similar like the father or mother. I think the difference in between asexual and sexual mode of reproduction you have understood. Next I am moving for types of asexual reproduction. So this is the elaborated portion. I have elaborated this portion here. There are different type of asexual mode of reproduction. First, whatever I have written, that is a binary fission. Keep it in your mind. When any specific mother organism is divided into two equal halves, okay, and those two equal halves are considered as daughter organism and they will be surviving. So that specific mechanism of asexual reproduction is commonly known as binary fission. You can understand binary means two and fission means division. That means mother organism is divided into two daughter organism. Mother organism is not surviving more, but the two daughter organisms are only surviving. Keep it in your mind, this binary fission can be found in case of amoeba as well as in case of paramecium. More other organisms are also there, but commonly amoeba and paramecium, these are the common organisms who are showing this binary fission. Clear? There is another kind of fission is also there, that is multiple fission. What is happening there? Multiple fission is a such kind of fission where it can be found that the mother organism is getting divided into multiple small units or small daughter organisms, and those daughter organisms are always remain in an encapsulated manner, or they will be always remain inside the cyst. So, or rather you can say they will be present in a plasmodium manner. Okay, and here the plasmodium is not the disease causing agent of malaria. Here the plasmodium is the mass of the newly formed daughter cells, okay, during the multiple fission. Specifically, multiple fission can be found also for the plasmodium type of organism. Okay, that's why the name has been given also here, plasmodium. Second, what is the next method of the asexual mode of reproduction? That is the budding. What is budding? Budding is such kind of asexual mode of reproduction where it can be found that a small bud or protrusion is getting created from the surface of mother organism, and that specific protrusion or bud is growing day by day. After a certain time, when that specific protrusion is acquiring entire matured structure of the mother, then it will be get detached from the mother body and it will start its life in a separate manner as a new individual. So that mechanism is commonly known as budding. Formation of the bud is called as budding. In case of budding, there are two types of the budding commonly can be found. One is exogenous budding, another one is endogenous budding. What is exogenous budding? When the bud or the protrusion will be getting created from the outer body surface of any organism, that is commonly known as exogenous budding. As an example, yeast and hydra. If you see their budding procedure, you will be seeing that the bud will be getting created from the outer body surface. Next, endogenous budding. What is endogenous budding? Endogenous budding is a such kind of budding mechanism where the bud will be created inside the organism's body, and according to requirement, or you can say when the favorable environmental condition will appear, on that time those specific buds will come out from their body, and that will survive or that will sustain their life, or that will be surviving as a new organism. So that will be considered as endogenous budding. Commonly sponge is showing this kind of budding mechanism, and the new bud which is actually formed inside their body, and according to time, according to favorable environmental condition, when the bud is coming out, that bud is commonly known as gamule. So endogenous bud is commonly known as gamule. For exogenous bud, only we are saying bud, no separate word we have used or we are using for that. Next, fragmentation. What is fragmentation? Fragmentation is a asexual mode of reproduction where any organism's body is getting fragmentized into multiple pieces, and those each and every pieces will start growing as a mature organism, and it will be getting mature organism and they will be surviving. So that is commonly known as fragmentation. But the thing is that, keep it in your mind, fragmentation, when the organism's body is getting fragmentized into multiple pieces, that fragmentation or that differentiation of the body, mostly it is happening accidentally. It's not under the desire of the organism. Accidentally it is happening, and multiple pieces, whatever it has been created, each and every piece it will grow and it will perform as a new organism. So as an example, Spirogyra is showing the fragmentation procedure. Next, regeneration. What is regeneration? Here also a any single organism's body will be differentiated into multiple pieces, and each and every piece will be giving birth of a new organism. But keep it in your mind here, always these organisms are segregating their body or differentiating their body into multiple pieces according to their desire. It's not any climatic accident or any kind of accident which has occurred with them. No, they are differentiating their body, segregating their body into multiple parts according to their desire, according to their wish. So that's why that is commonly known as regeneration. In case of regeneration, we always know that planaria. Suppose planaria body you are segregating into three parts: head, middle piece, and tail. So from the head, the new organism will be giving birth. From the middle piece, new organism will be giving birth, and from the tail also new organism will be giving birth. As well as if you consider in case of starfish, like planaria, it is not happening. Suppose you are cutting the arm of starfish, that arm will be growing. In case of lizard, if you cut the tail or accidentally if it will be get cut, it will be regrowing. So keep it in your mind, planaria, from each and every body part new organism is growing, but in case of starfish, from each and every part new organism is not growing, but if any part will be getting detached from their body, that can regrow. Clear? Going for the next point, that is sporulation. Sporulation is the process by which any organism or any plant or any other type of organism is actually producing spores. So spore formation, in biological terminology, we are commonly telling them sporulation. Sporulation, under that two types of spores we can see. One is zoospore, another one is conidia. What is zoospore? Zoospore is a such kind of spore which is always motile, flagellated spore. And these spores are commonly found in case of unicellular algae, that is Chlamydomonas. Okay. And another type of the spore also I have written here, that is conidia. Conidia is a such kind of non-motile spore. And these non-motile spores are not containing any flagella with them because they can't locomote. And this kind of spore can be commonly found in case of Penicillium fungi, Penicillium notatum. So under the sporulation, the two type of spores, and with their examples we have to keep it in our mind. And next and the last, under the asexual mode of reproduction, that is the larger one, that is the vegetative mode of reproduction or vegetative propagation. What is this? Some of the plants, they can produce next generation offspring or next generation plant from few of the part of their body. So that specific mechanism of producing next generation plant from few of the part of their body is commonly known as vegetative propagation. Propagation means here each and every body part is getting propagated to the next generation, and that's body part which is getting propagated to the next generation, that is forming the new plant. Okay, here always keep it in your mind, we are discussing about the vegetative propagation. Which one? That is always the natural mode of vegetative propagation. Here one more thing we have to keep it in our mind, that in case of vegetative propagation, the most common example we can give the example of water hyacinth. Suppose a single water hyacinth start growing in a small pond. After few weeks or after few days, if you go to that pond, nearby of that pond, you will see that entire the pond is getting covered by that water hyacinth plant. Why? Because water hyacinth is always following the vegetative propagation method for increasing their number, for producing the next generation of springs or plants. And that's why water hyacinth can be told sometimes as a terror of Bengal, because initially it was brought to Bengal or West Bengal as an ornamental plant. After that, it has been found that in which specific aquatic body it will start growing, within few days it is covering the entire upper surface of the water, or just the entire above surface of the water. So automatically it is getting very much hectic for the aquatic plants, aquatic animals which are always submerged below the water for their survival. So they can't properly survive for them. That's why their name we have given as a terror of Bengal. Okay. Now we will be just discussing about how the plant, different parts, they are propagating to the next generation and making the new plants. First, vegetative propagation by root. In case of root, we can see by storing the food material within the root, next generation plants can be produced. Okay, or the new plants can be produced. As an example, under the root we can see three varieties of the roots. First one conical, second one fusiform, third one napiform. What is conical? Conical means normally the root shape will be getting cone shaped. In case of carrot, you can see rather this kind of shape, conical, by the food storage. Fusiform, in case of specifically radish, you can see this fusiform shape, where the shape is not conical because the corners are not angle like, rather they are rounded. So that's why the fusiform can be commonly found in case of radish. And the next one, that is napiform. Napiform is more food storage has occurred. So for that reason, the entire structure is gets swollen. And when the structure is gets swollen, automatically it is forming the beetroot or turnip. That is under the napiform. So these three categories or these three varieties of roots are actually formed from a normal root of the plant, and that is obviously the example of the vegetative propagation. Now we will be seeing how the stem is helping in the vegetative propagation. First of all, we have to know about, there are two types of the stems we will be discussing. One is underground stem, another one is subaerial stem. First, whatever, in case of which plant the stem is underground, for them how those specific underground stems are helping in vegetative propagation. First, rhizome. If you consider the structure of ginger, if you see properly the structure of ginger, you will see that on the surface of ginger there are several nodes that are present, and from those nodes small root or rootlet like structures are arising. So obviously it is getting clear to you that is the stem actually, and stem is getting modified by the food storage, and it can give birth of the new plant. Because sometimes if you just keep that ginger in the touch of soil, after a few days you can see the new plants or new saplings are just originating from there. Tuber or potato. In case of potato also, due to food storage, that potato has just swollen. But one small thing, have you followed or not, I don't know. Please follow. Nowadays, whatever the potatoes are coming in our home, those potatoes are not commonly containing the eye of potato. But if you can see some of the potato, they are containing small groove-like structure on their surface. Those groove-like structures are commonly known as potato eyes, and from those eyes new plants can originate. That means when the stem is getting modified by food storage, after that also that stem is giving birth to the next plant. Next, corm. Corm is a such kind of stem modification, rather you can say, by the food storage. As an example, that is amorphophallus. In Bengali, which we are saying that is ol. So amorphophallus or corm is a such kind of modified stem due to food storage, and that is giving birth to the next generation offspring or next generation plant. In case of bulb, you can say that this is also a modification of stem, where the food is stored within the stem and it has been taken the structure of a bulb-like structure. That's why the category name has been given also bulb. In case of onion, if you see, in case of garlic, you can see that the structure is getting bulb-like, so that's why they are commonly known as bulb, and from one end the roots are arising, and from another end the new shoot of the new plant is arising. So obviously bulb, that is under that onion and garlic, they are responsible for producing the next generation plant, and they are also storing food for that. Next we are coming for the next category, that is subaerial stem. Subaerial stem means this is the part of stem, or in case of some of the plant, the stem part which is present above the ground, that is called as subaerial stem. So there are four different categories of the subaerial stem we can see. First one, that is runner, second one, that is sucker, third one, that is stolon, and fourth one, that is offset. What are these things? Runner. In case of some of the plants, you can see the stem is running through the upper surface of the soil. So those kind of subaerial stem modification is commonly known as runner. And by the help of runner, obviously new plants will be originating in a specific distance. As an example, lawn grass. If you see the grass, if you just pull a single grass, you will be seeing just in a line multiple grasses are coming out from the soil. So those are actually the example of the runner. Sucker. Here this is also a stem modification, where you can see the stem of the plant is passing through just the below surface of the ground, just the under surface of the ground. So that is commonly known as sucker. Keep it in your mind, pineapple plant is showing this kind of sucker like structure, because from the sucker new pineapple plant will be originating in a specific distance. Stolon is a such kind of stem modification, where you can see, suppose this is one plant and this is another plant. Okay, so in between these two plants there is a bow-like structure it will be forming, and that structure is obviously it is acting as a connective, and this is obviously a modification of stem. In between two plants there is a bow-like connective which will be formed, and like that multiple plants are connected with each other. So that will be commonly known as stolon. Now the point is, from that stolon where the nodes are present, new plants will be originating. As an example, mentha or strawberry. In case of these plants, who are actually or commonly showing the stolon structure, they are actually producing the next offspring. And the last one, that is offset. What is offset? Offset in case of the water hyacinth already we have discussed. Offset is a such kind of plant whose stems are just floating on the water surface, and due to presence of that kind of stem, they are producing more plants in the next generation, and automatically they will be covering the entire upper surface of the water, and which will be hectic for the aquatic organisms to survive when they will cover the upper surface of the water. So water hyacinth is also another example of the offset, and like that they will be increasing their plant number or plant population. Last 2 points under the vegetative propagation, so via stem and via root we have studied. Next two and the last two, that is via leaf. When any specific plant is producing the next generation plant via leaf or by leaf, then it is called as reproductive leaf, because the leaf is providing the birth of the next generation plant. In case of bryophyllum, if you see throughout the margin of the leaf, new small plantlets or small plants are originating. That means here we can understand leaf is taking the responsibility for producing the next generation plants. And the last one, floral bud. Sometimes in case of some of the plants it has been found that is a bud of the flower that is depositing more quantity of the more volume of the food, and it is actually converting to a bud like structure, and that bud like structure is the taking birth to the next generation plants. As an example, agave. In case of this agave, whatever the floral bud is just getting swollen due to deposition of the food, and that specific structure whatever they are making, that is commonly known as bulbil. Bulbil is that actual structure which is actually the floral bud with food stored, and that is commonly found in agave, and that bulbil is giving birth to the next generation plant. I think this entire portion, whatever the points I have discussed with you today in this video, you have understood properly. Again I am repeating the points. First one, we have discussed about the definition of the lifespan, various organisms lifespan. You have to study from the book. I am not discussing that point because those are some numbers only. Definition of the reproduction. Next we have discussed about whatever the significance of the reproduction. Next, whatever the various types of reproduction, asexual and sexual mode of reproduction, whatever the differences, almost 5 to 6 differences I have told. Sex cells are absent, sex cells are present, no fertilization. The new organisms will be the clone of the mother organism. Here new organisms will not be the clone. Here daughter organisms are taking birth. Here only the offsprings are taking birth. Here there is no variations can be found in the next generation. Here the variations can be found. It is evolutionary ill developed, it is evolutionary well developed. So these points you just can write here. Types of asexual mode of reproduction. Total 6 different types I have told here. One is binary fission, where the mother organism is divided into 2 equal halves. As an example, amoeba and paramecium. Budding, formation of small buds from the body surface or from internal body surface, that is called exogenous, as well as endogenous budding respectively. In case of exogenous budding, it can be found in yeast and hydra. In case of endogenous budding, it can be found in sponge. An endogenous bud which is formed, that is commonly known as gamule. Fragmentation is the procedure where the organism's body is subdivided into multiple fragments, and each and every fragment is giving birth to a new generation of offspring. But always keep it in your mind that fragmentation has occurred accidentally. It is not under the desire of that organism. But in regeneration, the division of the organism's body, or the just segregation of the organism's body is happening. But here there is obviously a desire of the organism present. As an example, planaria and starfish. Sporulation, that is a type of spore formation by the plant. Sporulation under the sporulation there can be 2 types of spores. One is zoospore, another one is conidia. Zoospore is a motile spore, conidia is a non-motile spore. Zoospore found in Chlamydomonas, conidia can be found in Penicillium. Vegetative propagation, under that I have talked about how the propagation will happen by the root, by forming conical root, fusiform root, napiform root. How the vegetative propagation will happen by underground stem and subaerial stem. In case of underground stem, rhizome, tuber, corm, bulb. These 4 varieties, these 4 categories of the further new type of stems have been produced by modification of, by the help of food storage. And in case of subaerial stem also 4 different categories: runner, sucker, stool-on, offset we have seen, as well as at last we have seen how the plant will be giving birth to the next generation plant by the help of leaf. In case of example, that is bryophyllum, because along the margin of the leaf the new plants are originating, as well as by the help of floral bud, that which is commonly generally shown by the agave plant. And here the floral bud is also getting swollen due to the deposition of the food, and when it is getting swollen, that structure is commonly known as bulbil, which is giving birth to the next generation plant. So I think this entire part you have understood properly, whatever I have recapitulated also, and I think it's my hope that you have enjoyed this video a lot. Thank you everyone.